Welcome back to the Dr. Frantz Lamour Show. Today we are embarking on a profound journey into a topic that touches the hearts of many, the notion of a spirit that destroys marriage or relationships. This concept is deeply intertwined with spiritual and religious beliefs, and its interpretation traverses a spectrum of faith and tradition. To set our course, I invite you to reflect on the term spirit that destroys marriage. Marriage. How does this concept resonate with you in the context of your beliefs? Dear lovers, your insights are precious to our discussion. Please join the conversation by sharing your thoughts in the comment section below. Considering your beliefs, what does the concept of a spirit that destroys marriage mean to you? Your unique perspectives will enrich our exploration and foster a deeper understanding. So go ahead, share your interpretations, and let us embark on this journey of discovery together. Go ahead and put your comments in the section below. I want to thank you in advance, all right? Thank you for contributing your thoughtful perspectives. Our diverse beliefs shape our understanding in fascinating ways. Now let us explore some potential interpretations of this complex concept, the spirit that destroys marriage. Spirit number one. Our journey begins with the lack of communication. Lack of communication is a spirit. Communication breakdown can erode the connection between spouses, leading to misunderstandings and unresolved conflicts. The lack of open and honest communication can weaken the bond between partners, hindering their ability to navigate life's challenges together. When communication channels falter, partners might drift apart, each grappling with their thoughts and emotions in isolation. This can prevent the nurturing of emotional intimacy and mutual understanding, which are critical pillars of a thriving marriage. Proverbs 15 verse 1, a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. One example from the Bible that exemplifies the importance of communication in marriage is the story of Abraham and Sarah. Genesis chapter 18 shows how Sarah struggled with infertility and the desire for a child. So when God promised her a son, you remember what she did? She laughed in disbelief. However, instead of openly discussing her doubts and concerns with her husband Abraham, she kept them to herself. When God told Abraham he's going to have a child, he believed. When God told Sarah that she was going to have a son, she laughed. We have no record from the Bible that she shared her concerns with or doubts with her husband. How do you perceive the impact of communication breakdown on a marriage? Can you draw parallels to any biblical verses that resonate with this? Considering the first couple, Adam and Eve, they talked before the fall. Once Satan entered the relationship, they no longer talk the way they should have talked to each other. They blame each other for their issues. So lack of communication is a spirit. So when human beings decide not to communicate with each other, we become weak. Enemies invade our territories to win. I'm talking about spiritual enemies. So the first spirit is lack of communication. Spirit number 2, let us delve into selfishness and ego. Selfishness and ego. When individuals prioritize their needs and desires over their partners and the relationship's needs, it can create a toxic environment. Ego-driven behaviors can lead to resentment, mistrust, and distance. Prioritizing personal needs over the relationship can introduce a wedge between partners, eroding the foundation of trust and intimacy. The continual pursuing of individual desires without regard for the partner's needs can lead to emotional distance and loneliness. Even when physically together, even when we live in the same house, the neglect of partnership needs can undermine the fabric of a loving marriage. You and your partner must balance personal aspirations and shared growth. Philippians chapter 2, verse 3 and 4. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves, not looking to your interests, but each of you to the interest of the others. An example of a couple that dealt with selfishness and ego can be found in the Bible story of King David and Bathsheba. When David allowed his desires to override his responsibilities and commitments, he engaged in an affair with Bathsheba, betraying her and her husband Uriah. How might prioritizing personal needs over the relationship affect a marriage? How are the teachings from your faith that address this dynamic? Talk to me. Let us know your thoughts about this subject. Selfishness and ego is not of God, because God says in His word, do nothing out of selfish ambition. So if selfishness and ego do not come from God, it comes from a different world, a different realm of spirits. The spirit number 2 is selfishness and ego. Spirit number 3, the topic of infidelity. Infidelity can lead to a breakdown of trust and emotional intimacy within a marriage. Acts of betrayal can result in a deep emotional wounds that are difficult to heal. Infidelity can shelter the foundation of trust that underpins a healthy marriage. The breach of commitment erodes the sense of security, leaving emotional scars that may persist for years. Infidelity's impact on emotional intimacy is profound. The betrayal can make individuals question their self-worth, hinder vulnerability, and impede open communication. In overcoming such trials, faith offers redemption and healing. But before I go to how we can redeem ourselves from infidelity, you and I would agree that infidelity is not a spirit that comes from God. So if it doesn't come from God, it must come from Satan and the demonic powers of this world. Forgiveness, rooted in compassion and humility, emerges as a path to restoring emotional bonds. The healing journey is possible through compassion and renewed commitment. Proverbs 6 verse 32. But a man who commits adultery has no sons. Yeah. A man who commits adultery has no sense. A woman who commits adultery has no sense. Whoever does so destroys himself. An example of a couple that dealt with the aftermath of infidelity can be found in the story of Hosea and Gomer from the Bible. In the book of Hosea, God instructs the prophet Hosea to marry Gomer, a woman who strays from the marriage and engages in infidelity. Hosea's commitment to his marriage and God's command leads him to forgive Gomer's transgressions and welcome her back. How does infidelity impact trust and emotional intimacy in a relationship? Can you draw wisdom from your faith to shed light on this aspect? The third spirit is infidelity. It will destroy your marriage. Spirit number 4, lack of commitment. Is another layer we must explore. When partners neglect their commitment, a slow erosion begins. The absence of active effort to nurture the relationship can create a distance between spouses, leading to emotional distance and unmet expectations. Ephesians chapter 5 verse 25. Husbands, love your wives, just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. Faith provides a blueprint for commitment. Ephesians chapter 5 verse 25 speaks of husbands' sacrificial love and the Christian tradition, illustrating the depth of commitment expected in marriage. Islam emphasizes the sacredness of the marital bond, rooted in a mutual respect and support. An example that highlights the consequences of a lack of commitment in a relationship can be seen in the Bible story of Samson and Delilah. Samson, known for his great strength, became fascinated with Delilah because he loved her. When his enemies manipulated to betray him, what happened? Samson's lack of commitment to his well-being and his disregard for the consequences of his actions ultimately led to his downfall. Samson's disregard for the commitment to his purpose, values, and even his safety showcase the destructive power of neglecting one's responsibilities within a relationship. Lack of commitment is a spirit that destroys marriage. Just as the story of Samson and Delilah, a lack of commitment can create a void where once there was a strong bond. The absence of sustained effort and dedication can lead to unmet needs and emotional detachment, eroding the foundation of a loving relationship. Commitment is a dynamic force that requires continuous nurturing. You don't make a commitment once and for all. I know you made a commitment when you are getting married. Commitment is a dynamic force that requires continuous nurturing. It is a promise that to actively participate in the growth and well-being of the partnership, ensuring that emotional connection remains strong. A lack of commitment jeopardizes the spiritual partnership inherent in a marriage. It's a reminder that commitment isn't a static vow, but a continuous journey of love and dedication. Just as faith requires devotion, marriage thrives when partners prioritize their commitment to one another, fostering closeness and unity. The commitment we bring to our relationships shape their trajectory. As we move ahead, remember that our devotion is a powerful force that can nurture our connections, aligning with the spiritual essence of love and faith. Let me ask you these questions. How does a lack of commitment to marriage vows contribute to partners drifting apart? Are there passages in your faith that underscore the sanctity of vows? You talk to me. You let us know. Are there passages in your belief that underscore the sanctity of your vows? Spirit number 5. Unresolved conflict is a force to reckon with. Unresolved conflict is a spirit, but not a spirit from God, but a spirit from the enemy. Not addressing conflicts or not finding healthy ways to resolve them can create a breeding ground for resentment and bitterness. Over time, these unresolved conflicts can damage the foundation of marriage. In the teachings of Jesus Christ, Matthew 23 and 24, therefore, if you are offering your gift at the altar, and there remember that your brother or sister has something against you, leave your gift there in front of the altar. First go and be reconciled to them, then come and offer your gift. Unresolved conflicts fester like wounds, poisoning the emotional landscape of a marriage. Partners may experience neglect and validation when issues go unaddressed for years, leading to resentment and anger. An illustration of corrosive nature of unresolved conflict in a relationship can be found in the story of Joseph and his brothers from the Bible. In Genesis, Joseph's brothers harbored jealousy, and resentment towards him, leading them to sell him into slavery. Years later, when they reunited, the unresolved conflict loomed between them. Listen, the verse from Matthew underscores the importance of reconciliation and resolution. It's a powerful reminder that healing fractured relationships takes precedence over any other offering. You go into church every Sunday, or you go into the synagogues every day, or the days that you set apart for that, yet you have unresolved conflicts with your partner. In the teachings of Jesus, there is a strong emphasis on resolving conflicts rapidly and justly, maintaining harmony within the marriage or the community. Unresolved conflicts hinder emotional connection. Yet, faith-based teachings provide a roadmap for constructive conflict resolution. In any relationship, finding common ground, active listening, and offering forgiveness as an act of love can pave the way toward healing and renewed understanding. How can unresolved conflicts sow the seeds of resentment and anger in your marriage? Are there verses from your belief that offer counsel on conflict resolution? It is vital to remember that addressing conflicts isn't just about finding resolution. It's about nurturing the emotional health of the relationship. By seeking understanding, empathy, and resolution, we pave the way for healing and growth. Do you have unresolved conflicts in your marriage? That is a spirit you need to reckon with. And you need to ask God to help you and obey the teachings of your beliefs. In this insightful exploration, we delve into the shadows that can threaten the sacred bond of marriage, uncovering 5 powerful spirits that wield the potential to destroy the harmony between 2 loving souls. From the lack of communication to selfishness, infidelity, lack of commitment, and unresolved conflict, we have illuminated the challenges that required vigilance and care. As we bring this chapter to a close, we invite you to join us in our next presentation, where we will continue this critical dialogue. 5 more spirits await our examination, each a reminder that understanding, empathy, and faith are pivotal in fortifying the foundations of love. Thank you for being part of this illuminating journey. Stay tuned for our next installment as we navigate the complexities of faith and relationships, striving to nurture resilient connections against the forces that seek to destroy them. See you next time, lovers. Thank you for being part of this presentation today.